Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 14 of the Cinematic Boys Reviews. But if you're here for your very first time watching this or listening to this, what's up, guys? I'm Dakota, and aka D&B Reviews on TikTok, YouTube, everything. Today I got my two wonderful co-hosts,
Hell yeah.
Bilal
Yo,
and Sammy. And if you guys know Bilal, he also does movies on TikTok.
Yes,
Sammy
sir.
is
Yes,
a
sir.
film student. If you guys are new here at UNC Wilmington. We'll try and get him on TikTok. He's a big fan of film.
I'm on an Instagram right here, though. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
He's
Oh
our
yes, and
student at a podcast. We're like teaching him how like film works. Obviously, that's why he's
Yeah,
in here.
that's exact. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I'm here.
Bilal, I want to say this today for you guys to actually listen. I have thought this. Sammy has been on here for so long. I actually have thought about this, and I, Sammy, you're officially co-host now.
Oh wow, you
Yes, I
sure, man?
thought this.
Okay.
Congratulations, man. You made it onto the roster
Yeah,
today.
Well, there you go. I
Yeah.
appreciate
so
you,
you're officially a co-host of the Cinematic Boys podcast and
dude.
Cinematic
Fuck
Boys
yeah.
reviews. But of course, today,
I'm
guys,
fucking
we will
honored.
be.
I'm fucking honored, man. I
Yeah.
mean,
Hey,
I'm
hey,
honored.
Yo,
Excuse my
Dakota, where's
language.
the
I'm
clapping,
honored.
bro? There we go. There we go. That's the spirit. Yeah.
I wish
Thank
there was
you.
an emote like normal if you guys are watching the video. There's normal emotes pop up for this.
No, I'm sorry, email.
Chat, where's the emotes?
Yeah. Everyone, congratulate Sammy down in the comments if you guys are watching this, by the way, on the playback. But of course, today we're going to be doing our final Alex Garland review of his trilogy, sometimes his third movie out of his four movies that he has released with Annihilation. This movie came out in 2018. It stars Oscar Isaac, Tessa Thompson, Natalie Portman, and of course, this is directed by Alex Garland. But before we get into the episode, how are you guys doing today?
Who me?
Yeah, both of you.
I can't
Um,
complain. It's been a great day, man. Yeah.
I'm doing
I'm
great.
good, man. Just a little goofy, obviously. I'm good.
Yeah, you're
Felt.
always goofy below.
Felt.
But besides that, let's get right into the episode, guys. Okay, before we get out our thoughts, is this your first time watch for either one of you? Is this a rewatch for you guys?
This is the first time for me.
This is my second time watching this. The first time I watched this when I was 18. I was on the movie theater. Was confused, but I loved it the first time I saw it, and revisiting it, it was another great experience. Couple of scenes
But
almost give me a heart attack though, but we'll talk about that later. But, yeah.
of course,
Um,
this is my first time watching Annihilation. This is my first time actually ever going through a director's filmography for the podcast because for Villeneuve, I watched Dune and Blade Runner 2049 through his filmography. So this is the first time I'm busting through a director's filmography, and you guys are seeing my live reactions because, especially where we done our Civil War review for me and Bilal in the regular podcast episode. But let's get right to it, guys. For at least spoiler free first, let's go with Sammy first. What are your thoughts on this movie, Sammy?
I personally loved this movie. I remember it coming out, and it was kind of like it came out at a weird time. It was like February. It was like there was a lot going on. And
there
just
was
people
like,
just didn't really go to the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's because of the limited release it got in 2018 as well. I remember it being for like a week and then it went to streaming. For me, at least, I don't know about the
I
states.
think so. I think for you guys like out of states, it did that with the streaming because Netflix owned the international rights. For the American rights, Paramount owned it all, so it was a full theatrical
oh,
release.
see,
But
I
of
didn't
course, it
even
was
know
a
that. That's cool.
Yeah.
so this was a bomb at the box office. So of course, Garland started his directing career with Ex Machina for A24, but also Universal. Me and Bilal found that out last week. But then he got this role, this directing job for Paramount, bombed at the box office. But a lot of directors that went came from A24. If they do bad, they go back. So his last two films with Men and Civil War have been for A24, and he has stuck there ever since.
But I feel like I feel like he's very much in a position now where I could see his next film not at all being at A24. I could see it, but like I feel like he's at a position now, especially with Civil War and like critically and commercially, where they know he can hold his own. But I don't. I just love this movie's ideas. I think the concept and like kind of the twist and like how everything's involved and like the plot of the film and what it wants to talk about and like themes of like unity is really interesting. Um like at times it almost like the idea becomes deeper than the movie, and I like that. Like I like that idea in a movie. There's very few movies that really like capture that. Like one I can think of off the top of my head is like Ghost in the Shell. Like the movie's great, but the idea is like way more. Natalie Portman did a phenomenal job. All the crew did a great job. It very much matches the tone of Ex Machina in a way. Like it chooses when to be very cinematic, like at least like audio wise, like it's very quiet. Um a lot of the film is very focused on like smaller moments or like kind of not giving you all the pieces of the puzzle but kind of throwing you in the middle of it. That tends to be a big pattern, especially like with I can see where like Min picks up a lot of what Annihilation kind of does with that pattern, at least like editing wise. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Like I think it's aged really well, and I'm really glad that like now people are starting to look back on it as like way more than it was when it came out. But you, Bilal, what did you think, man?
Me personally, I really enjoy Annihilation. Like I said, the first time I watched this it was in 2018, so definitely the second time, I kind of changed my perspective and started looking at the small things of this movie because it does a really great job of foreshadowing things for like future parts of the movie, which was really great and just pieces all everything together really well. Like you said, Natalie Portman was phenomenal in this movie as the lead. Oscar Isaac, I enjoy his performance, but I feel like it was if it was a newcomer actor, I feel like that would be more effective, in my opinion, at least. But the scenes when they went to the trimmer and seeing how that was in the world building, like really green, colorful, vibrant colors, but at the same time, it was really dangerous, especially what these characters see in the chamber. And this movie does focus on like mental health a little bit, which is something really was really great in this movie as well, which I will talk about later. And I must say, the group of women who went in the chamber, all of them were really great. I wish we got a little more of Tessa Thompson though. I feel like she was a little sidelined in the movie a
Yeah.
little bit, but other than that, I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
So for me, of course, this is my first time watch. I can see what Sammy is saying because after watching Garland's other three films now in his filmography, there's a lot of each film I think is pieced into this. Like especially with the sci-fi action kind of what we got right now in this one, you could definitely see what he did from Ex Machina and he put into this. Not only the cast with Oscar Isaac could bring him back, but like kind of like the nuance because with Ex Machina it kind of felt eerie a little bit, and it kind of had that sense until you found out what was in the shimmer because it was like a you kind of not get into like spoilerize like what happens at the beginning. You're wondering why this happens and why is this shimmer attached to this. And it's kind of like an ex machina, like you know that Caleb went to Nathan's place so Nathan could test him for the AI, like do the test experiments on with him. But it's like you don't know what's really the truth about to the very end.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like with this with Ex Machina with men, like you said, like the camera shots and like men. especially the forest scenes and like the shimmer. It really gives like with the camera shots with men, especially where Jesse Buckley's character, like we were talking about, Sammy, like is most of the wood in the woods most of the time in the beginning. It gave a lot of that off. But I think the thing with Civil War is, I think it has some great music like Civil War did. But you could see where this was a bigger budget at the time, like how Civil War is with A24's current film, and what Garland can do with that money. But besides that, I like the acting in this with Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman. Like I agree with you guys with the Tessa Thompson thing. I wish they gave a little bit more screen time to Oscar Isaac's character, because I kind of think they just like threw him in there because like, oh, it's Oscar Isaac, Natalie Portman. People will go to the theaters for this. Which you could got like a no name or a low budget actor to fill the role and it'd be the same.
Yeah.
But I
And
think
it's just
that's
there's not a lot of diversity with the performance. Like it's very not that he's doing a bad job. It's just like nothing about it sticks out to where it's like Oscar Isaac. It you can like you. There's nothing about it that makes me as an audience member like I can see why you wanted to be this.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just kind of a job, and like that's kind of a not that that's necessarily the worst thing, but it's noticeable, and that's
Yeah.
like always noticeable to me in a movie whenever it's like okay, you're here to get the check.
Yeah, but
Like
like I feel
because
like Alex Garland's like, oh, I want Oscar Isaac in this project, but like it's gonna be a small role because he loved working with him Ex Machina. So typically directors want to bring in like, oh, I like this person, I would like to work on them again. Unfortunately, this time it's gonna be a smaller role. Oscar Isaac, Alex Garland probably our boys, and like Oscar's like, sure, I'll do a small role for you. That's fine.
and I
because
feel
for
like
me
they
what
have a good relationship.
Yeah,
but for me when I go into a film, I want to see if us as the audience can like build a connection with the characters. And for Natalie Portman's character, I feel a good connection with her. Like we sympathize with her and through the movie. Oscar Isaac's character is not that much.
I mean,
Or
the
like
point wasn't really focused on Oscar Isaac's character. It was more so a central focus on Natalie Portman's character. So it was more about her character, how much Oscar Isaac's like being the husband meant to her kind of thing.
but is
I,
that like for me, I think it's marketing wise. Because if you look at the poster, he's the one of the main actors on the poster. So you're thinking, oh, he's going to be in this movie for a little bit more than he is.
I think it's definitely the marketing behind it, but in a weird way, I think the way the plot plays out and understanding like why he acts the way he is by the end, it makes sense why he's disconnected. I
Yeah,
feel like it kind of plays into like the ideas and themes and like the plot of like what they're trying to say about like unity and individualism. And so for me, that was kind of one of those things where like when we get into spoiler territory, like I'll dive into it more, but I feel
yeah,
like I definitely get your point, but in a weird way, the way the script works, I can see why they went the other way. But I
exactly.
definitely could see like both ways being. I definitely feel like we could have got more out of the flashbacks with Oscar Isaac. I
Yeah,
agree with that. There's certain scenes where it's like a small snippet, and I get the idea behind the small snippet. But personally, I kind of wish it had like a line or two more dialogue. Like
yeah,
there's specifically one where like they both, I feel like this isn't really a spoiler. They're both sitting on a couch reading a book and they say hey to each other. And then they like, she like starts crying, and to me that's kind of like okay, I get like what you're trying to do with that, but at the same time like I feel like I could have got more out of the other character, at least with like one or two more lines or like a different expression maybe, or like an action, or you know what I mean. It's just kind of so I definitely see what you're saying, Dakota. I'm so used to this camera, I swear to god dude, I'll get it right one day. who I'm fucking pointing at. Um,
You're pointing. Dakota points at me all day.
but Dakota, um, yeah, I definitely see like I feel like there were areas where it could have been implemented more, but he definitely is not the focus of the movie. He's just kind of there. And I feel like also having that star power is makes that relationship to the audience even more awkward because you anticipate him to be more because of his stardom
Yeah.
and it's really nothing. It's a nothing role. Like I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about his role.
I think that for me, yeah, I can see where you come from though for that. But it's just the marketing. I think that's what really. I think that's what really hurt this movie in the box office. Because I wonder if Ford got out after the film came out about certain people's roles, and it's like maybe people don't want to go see this at the time.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
like you said,
like I saw the trailer, it seemed more like a straight up horror movie type of vibe
Yeah.
that's why I thought too.
instead of a straight up sci-fi thriller, which this movie is. I mean, there is some horror elements that we're going to talk about later, but it's more of a sci-fi thriller mystery film. So I feel like that marketing kind of ruined the reputation what of this movie was trying to go for. So like when I first saw the trailer, I was expecting straight up horror, but that wasn't the case when I saw it in theaters. So
Yeah,
And I'm
because
also
I keep. Oh, Sammy,
no,
you
go
can
ahead.
go.
Sorry. No, you're good.
But I see what you're going for, Bilal, because I think I watched the trailer one time for this a long time ago. I think it was like when COVID first started, or when I was walking around Best Buy one time. I wanted to see some type of movies, and of course, I saw Annihilation on the shelf. I'm like, okay, I want to see what this is about. And I watched the trailer. I'm like, oh, this seems like you said, full fledged horror movie. Then
yeah,
I watched it today. I'm like, there's no, there's some, but not a lot of horror elements in it. It feels more like a sci-fi thriller. I'm like, if I watched it, like me as back before like the pandemic and stuff, not liking horror movies that well, this would have turned off my like not brain, but
interest.
yeah, like my interest for this movie
Yeah,
because if it's a horror, I'm not gonna watch a horror unless if I really want to see it.
yeah. Like for me, it's like, yo, this looks like an alien type of film. I'm like, oh, these creatures. Oh, this is really cool. It's like a alien, but it's like a bear is the villain of this. This is awesome. I'm like, oh,
Because yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the bear. I'm like, okay, is this? Because I was thinking like a creature feature,
yeah. That's
kind
what
of
I'm
like how
saying.
Crawl is. That's what I thought. Then I'm
And
like, nah.
I feel like the strategy that they should have done with this film, and this is very out there, and I feel like this it would have benefited from this, is trying to get it like shown in the summer for festival circuit and release it in the fall. So the audience knows it's not like they should have separated from Hollywood. I think they tried to Hollywoodize this movie a lot in its marketing, and the film's very anti-Hollywood. Like, yes, it's a conventional narrative film, but a lot of its ideas and like expression of those ideas are experimental, at least to a degree where like mainstream audiences wouldn't. I feel like even the mainstream audiences definitely like appeal to it. Like, there's gonna be a lot of people that watch it and are like, I don't get this. I don't really like want to invest in this
Yeah,
versus like having that audience ahead of time like no, this is a very out there movie and advertising it as such versus like okay, we don't know how to advertise this movie because it's very out there. Let's just throw it into let's just find a way to market it as an entirely different genre.
yeah,
When if I would have saw like I feel like if we would have had like a premiere at Cannes or Venice or Berlin, like even if it's just like a selection piece, it's not even part of the circuit. Um, which is I mean, if they can get the fucking weekend to show the idol at Cannes, you could have showed that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like it would have benefited from that. It would have had more interest in it, especially for like a critical standpoint and like a honestly an award standpoint. Not that it was very much at all like trying to get any awards, But I feel like just having that like separation to be
Yeah,
like, hey, we're not trying to be ultra Hollywood. This is the film I made.
yeah,
But
but
it's from
like,
someone we're very used to, or at least like culturally now we're being told Alex Garland someone to look for. So now we know this is the auteur's next film to look for.
yeah. But like speaking of the wars, it kind of does try with the wars, not in the acting standpoint of view, but the visuals of this movie are
Yeah.
gorgeous to look at, and especially like some of the creature designs were really like menacing and scary to look at, and the oil of that green was so like wow, beautiful to look at, right?
It's a
So, like,
spectacle, you know what I mean? Like you want to understand it even if you think you have an idea of it. Like there's
yeah.
something about it that's just unique.
It's like a mind bending spectacle film. Like not a lot of people go fully get it. And that's okay. That's like this is a movie that makes you want to think about it. It's a type of movie that's go make you think a couple days about it. And that's like the key thing of this movie's trying to do, right?
No, yeah, I feel like it's one of those movies that's like it's not you're not going to get all the first watch.
Yeah.
Anyone. I think I could rewatch this and find things that I completely missed the first time. And kind of backwards to I'm going to get it right this time. Backwards to Dakota, what he was saying earlier. Um I feel like the movie I just completely blanked on what I was saying.
Annihilation.
I'm not gonna lie. No, I know. I had what I was saying. Yes, we're back. We're back. I got it. I got it. So like it's the foreshadowing aspect, right?
Yeah,
Like
like
I
I said
feel like
earlier.
it's very like he'll throw in dialogue that's like really important, but it's not presented as important to the audience. Or he'll like present like a rule. You know what I'm saying? Like the refraction rule. And
Yeah.
like you if you miss it, you're not gonna get the movie. You're not gonna get like later on. But it's like I kind of like I kind of like his style of doing that, or like when auteurs do that when it makes you pay attention because they know that there's going to be things and there's going to be times where you just kind of go numb. It's like no, you got to listen. You got to like be here because if you're not here, the visual aspects of his storytelling aren't going to match because you missed the foreshadowing. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of this movie is built on that. Like it's built on okay, here's the visualization of what we're talking about, but it's one conversation between two people an hour ago. And
Exactly.
if you didn't pay attention and if you didn't remember, you're gonna be lost. And and like I said, it's a weird movie. It's like when you think you're grasping what you're watching, it throws you again through a loop, and you're like, okay, so this is now this, or
Yeah,
maybe this
exactly.
evolved
Yeah.
into this and now it's an evolution, or was it always like this? Like I kind of just I don't know, it's so, and there's little moments that happen that really impact
Yeah.
the like progression of where things go.
I mean, the little moments start right off the beginning, but we'll talk about it in spoilers, though.
Yeah.
I think we're ready for
O-
spoilers, unless you
Okay,
want.
right before I got one thing. Sammy's talking about foreshadowing. I just saw this, so you guys saw my reaction. If you guys are saying, I think I don't know if you guys two saw it.
I did. It was funny.
Garland, when you said this, has foreshadowing in every single one of his movies. Ex Machina. You guys gotta think. When Nathan tells Caleb the third thing that she could be pretending, and later on she's been pretending the whole entire time to like him, just to get out. This I don't know what the foreshadowing is. I probably gotta have to go back and watch that.
I definitely think it could be like Caleb's idea that like having to have an AI being genderized doesn't really make sense outside of like lust and selfishness. And then
True.
Oscar Isaac's character argues with him and he's like, well, it's important. But she uses that as a gateway to get
To escape.
around to escape. Yeah. And that wouldn't have existed if there wasn't established like sex norms and it just existed as a being that was neutral. You know what I mean? And I guess that's the only thing I can think of like in regards to what you're talking about with Ex Machina.
Then men, like we saw the pictures in the chapel, for the Green Man, and of course, by the end he appears. And I won't say this to you, Sammy, but Bilal, remember the conversation that Lee and Jesse has at the beginning of the movie
Yeah.
for Civil War? That's big foreshadowing in the
Yeah,
movie.
huge foreshadowing for the end. That was
So
crazy.
he literally has foreshadowing in every single one of his movies. So this is like, you know how directors have tropes. So I'm thinking Garland's trope is foreshadowing, big foreshadowing in his
Or at least
movies.
like subtle, like it's subtle, but it's important,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be ever presented like it's important,
Yeah.
and then it comes
And you
in
won't,
later, and you're like,
or
Yeah.
it skips and you think about the movie afterwards and you're like, oh, he did mention that at the beginning of the film
yeah,
because that's what was Civil War. Me and Mom walked out of the theater. She's like, remember the conversation at the beginning? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's what happens later on. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, you're right. That is big
Yeah.
foreshadowing right
And
there.
it just makes me appreciate the movie even more,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh wow, I didn't get this. It makes me like the movie even more, right? Like those small things matter in movies.
1,000, dude. And
Because
it's if you're thinking about a movie when you leave the theater, you won as a creative. Like that is a single handedly you won. There's too many movies you go see, and it's just like, all right, I'm good. Like that
I
was
mean,
a
like
good 2 hours.
if I beat Alex Garland, I'll be like geeking out about this movie. It's like, oh wow, well you did this very clever thing in the beginning. I appreciate what you did at the end, kind of thing.
just like going off of like a little side thing right now, like this year, with all the movies coming out this year, there has been 3 movies that have come out of the theater. No, 4. Thinking, like talking a couple hours, a couple days on. One is Dune. Of course,
Obviously,
we talk about all the time. Second one's Monkey Man. I kept on talking about that for a couple hours with my parents after watching that. Abigail, like I haven't talked to you yet, but I've been talking about everyone nonstop about Abigail. And then the other one's Civil War.
and me and Dakota, I think our best episode was the Civil War episode. I think we both went really good in depth in that movie
Yeah,
and like, brought our thoughts together really well. So I think that was our best episode too.
Which I'm
but
excited to
besides,
watch once I finally watch the movie.
Yeah.
And hopefully the next week. I'm aiming to in the next week. I should have a lot more free time. So
but I think that's it for our spoiler-free thoughts. So, guys, of course, we're in our spoiler section of this review. So, if you guys haven't watched Annihilation yet, it is available on digital. I don't know about physical because physical is like really hurt right now. Not only Best Buy, but it's been announced that Target also wants to take their physical media away. So it's hard to get any physical media anywhere anymore. But I know where you can get on digital. But of course, we're gonna mention that at the end of the episode if you guys want to go watch it. But guys, I think with that being said, let's get into our spoiler thoughts. So let's go with Bilal first.
All right. Speaking about the foreshadowing in the
Yes, let's get
beginning,
into that.
you know when you like Natalie Portman's character saying, "Oh, Oscar Isaac is dead," and he finally shows up in the house. When he drinks the water and the blood, it comes in the water, right? In the end of the film, when Natalie Portman's character gets out of the shimmer, she drinks the water, but there's no blood.
Oh,
but
I
you
did think
did
of
you
that.
notice in the inside of the glass that you see the water like separate? Like it's different. Like there's like
Like
an
duplicating a
outline
little bit.
on the glass. Yeah, like it's moving on its own like its own world outside of the rest of the liquid.
Yeah. So
Like where her mouth
what if
touched it.
but then that ending when she's talking to Oscar Isaac, it's like, "Oh, you're not Kane." I'm like, "Holy
Okay,
shit!"
please. Do you two know what the hell that went on during that scene? Because I am so damn confused
I'm
during
like,
the
"Holy
whole scene.
shit!" That's the Annihilation. It made
I
it
think
out.
I think it's a mix of that, and I think at least the way I took it, like everyone's brain that entered that realm are so universal and like unified that there's no individualism. So they're all make up all of what they existed in, right? So like everything flows through, like they're literally like part of their DNA is the tree, part of their DNA is each other. So they're
Yeah,
like ultra connected.
yeah,
So
like in the
whenever
scene, like where it was like all the leaves together that look like humans. That was like old DNA. That was like wild to me. And I was
and it's
watching.
like evolving into being like plant formed people because they have that little bit of genetic code. And so when she asks if it's Cain, to me, like both of them in their brains are no longer individualized. They
Yeah,
do not have any sort of like sense in themselves or that they exist on their own. They exist as a unit, as an ultimate like everything. So when they're talking, they can't recognize each other because they're talking to everything in two different expressions.
yeah,
If that makes sense, like that's how I took it, at least, where it's like, okay, like I have everything in me and you have the same everything in me, but like I can't even comprehend how to express myself. That's why they're like, I don't know, because there's literally no self. It's just like the entire shimmer. The shimmer
yeah,
is them and their brain. And that's why I think they hug at the end, because it's like both of them reach a point where they recognize they're no longer like individuals, and
yeah.
they can't do anything but embrace each other out of pure connection because they don't have anyone to relate to. They can't comprehend even being existing
Yeah.
as their own thing.
And like speaking of like the final like battle, I guess, for like the annihilation thing, that's like all like clear kind of thing, like clear human, and was like copying Natalie Portman's character's movements the whole time.
And that's kind of where like the refraction comes in that they
Yeah,
brought up, where it's like I wouldn't have understood any of that to any degree if I didn't catch that line. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, so that's why this is doing that. But then at the same time, the blood element, that's the thing that was, I think, like super important, is her blood entering that like being.
yeah,
Because the second it did, she became God. Because like the entity that was born out of her, right? It echoes her because it doesn't have a sense of individualism, and it recognizes its creator. We all want our creator. We all follow the leader, especially when you're a baby. So it keeps following and trying to recognize Natalie Portman to the point where it like echoes her look, because that is what creation is. And when she leaves, this like entity that is born out of it, right? That's like everything and it's still her. Like it recognizes it has nothing to follow. It has no objective. It simply exists and it doesn't know why. So it kills itself.
yeah.
It's
That
like
was,
a self-destruction. Like it's the
yeah. They were
concept of
talking
like
about
I don't
self
have
destruct.
a
They were talking about self destruct. I'm
that's
like, oh,
exactly, yeah. That's exact, like it was when you don't have a sense of purpose or a sense of like like understanding something, you don't have the will to want to exist, to live, to
yeah,
even participate in that. And it's I don't know, I think the ending's so cool because the whole film's idea is that whatever is coming to earth is evolving to a point to where we're not going to be anything, we're all going to be one with whatever it is,
yeah,
and we're all going to be everything, which is
yeah,
a really cool concept. And I'd argue is not 100% negative depending on the perspective of the person in the debate. But then by the end of the movie, when everything exists on its own and it doesn't have individualism, it still fucking is miserable,
yeah,
which is very much like an anti-theory, because a lot of people think unity leads to people feeling connection and happiness. But if you have no identification for yourself or like what you come from or like existing, you're gonna not, there's no reason. And I don't know. It's just that's how I took it, at least. I know I've been fucking soapboxing for like 5 minutes, but
Yeah, like there was that conversation like about suicide and self destruct, and I think you just like perfectly explained this ending of that conversation of this self destruct. Because they were talking about self destruct a couple times in this movie, and are like, why are they talking about this? Until you see the end, it's like, oh, that's what happens in the end, and it's like, oh shit, that's like you said, the little dialogue things matter a lot. That foreshadowing. Um, but when they first go into Jimmer, there's a scene of Natalie Portman's character sort of cheating on Oscar Isaac's character.
yeah, yeah. Um, that whole scene, fucking, that was a massive shock.
Yeah.
Hey, Sammy, is that the
Yeah,
husband from Men?
I mean, Alex Garland does like working with the same people. I wouldn't be
I'm
surprised.
actually gonna look that up.
I think it was. But before we get back to that, even more about foreshadowing, I don't know if you guys saw my reaction again, but remember the quotes Oscar Isaac said about God? And like you guys were saying, this annihilation thing's like
Yeah,
God, especially like once they got the DNA. Okay, another thing I was going to ask you. So, who died of Oscar Isaac's character from the grenade? Was it the actual him, or was it the annihilation version of him?
I think it was Satchel Version of him.
See, and that's something like I feel like I would have to rewatch it to feel confident in that answer. At least in my opinion, like how I feel. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's why I love this movie, man. I feel like even when I feel like I get it, like there's something I like. I feel like there's just something else.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
the scene really that fucked me up was like the scene when they first got the camera, the whole crew, and you see Oscar Isaac's character like cutting the guy's stomach, and there's like a worm growing. I'm like for the characters, they don't know why he was doing that. Oh, they're like, oh, he's going insane. But like that actually hits the character, Natalie Portman's character, even first. Like, oh, he's my love of my life, and he's doing something like this. Like, why did I love him in the first place? You see that emotional breakdown of the character without like her even speaking on it.
And it's like I love Alex Garland's balance of visual like conversation and reveal in the actual conversation, because I feel like it's one of those things where it's very specific to the director. Some directors love explaining everything. Like I love Christopher Nolan, but he loves to explain everything.
Yeah, and
And
you
some
don't.
people just like show you something and that's it. And it's just like, I don't know. You tell me. What do you think it is?
I mean, Alex Garland is the director. Is like, oh, I'm going to show you what's happening, but I ain't telling you shit. Go figure it out by yourself. Which is something
And
I
yeah,
like about him as a director. Um, Another scene that messed me up was definitely the opening. Well, not the opening. Like that beginning of the characters going to Chimmer and the alligator came out of nowhere. I'm like, bro, well, oh, there's the horror elements I was looking for.
which I feel like in the weirdest way, the movie turns around. Like for me, the climax of the movie is the bear scene.
Oh yeah, the bear scene, especially when the character Shepard dies by the bear. We saw that. Then you see Josie. Was it Josie or Annie? I forgot the character's name.
The girl that played Gina Rodriguez's character
Yeah,
that
Gina
played
Rodriguez character who ties all the characters up and then goes kind of crazy. Speaking of the mental health, if you're in this situation, your brain's gonna get like really fucked up. So it makes sense they show that. And then the bear comes out of nowhere. I'm like, holy shit. The bear only kills Gina's character, and there's like, I thought all the characters about getting murdered by that bear. Not gonna lie, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a depressing ending.
but also like I think it's interesting because that's the first time in the movie where it shows you that like there's so like there's evolution that can happen in this realm post death in a reincarnation form.
Yeah, like you
And that's such
become.
a weird thing to like bring in that late, you
Yeah,
know?
it's such a thing. Is like, oh, you could turn into this creature after death because, like, you see Natalie Portman's character find Shepard, and then it leads to the scene afterwards. Like Natalie Portman really care about Shepard. They have like this friendship, so that's another emotional thing that hits you hard. And it's like, oh, if you die, you start to become this creature, which is pretty cool actually. Honestly, like if I turned to a bear, that's sweet.
And in a weird way, I'm thinking about this bear even more now. When she, no, I'm serious. When she, as the bear, kills Gina Rodriguez's character, it's the same way she was murdered. She
I
goes for
know.
the throat. So
Okay, can I tell you
is it
guys?
almost like an asexual reproducing method, maybe?
Yeah, that's wild
Like
shit.
that's a weird, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like I'm sitting here like, bro, like what could that like
It's
entail?
Annihilation Bear. What does that represent? That's what
Okay,
sounds to me, bro.
I want to tell you guys something. So I don't know if you guys caught this during the movie. I did. Do you not realize when? Okay, so when the bear attacked Shepard, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Shepard's brain's not all there, and the bear's brain's not all there. What they said is they intertwined with each other. That's
So
what
they said
happened.
it in dialogue
Yeah, they said it
or
in dialogue.
okay, see that I missed it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I
I
caught that
missed
right there.
it.
I'm like,
The only way I caught it was when she's screaming in the bear.
Yeah. Oh,
because it's
what?
right after that. I think it's when Natalie Portman's character and the main doctor's talking.
Oh, okay. I think it meant pre the bear scene.
Oh,
No, it's after the bear scene.
I hate the main doctor so much, bro.
Yes, me too.
She's a
Okay,
very it was a very dry performance.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I felt like there was so much she could have done with the character or like
yeah.
in subtle nuanced
Yeah,
performance,
like
like
I give this
even
movie a
just
nine.
visually.
I give this movie a 9 out of 10. But the reason I give it 9 out of 10 is because the main doctor's performance was so like mad to me. Like it wasn't like she was trying her in. It's like she sounded like herself during the
was
whole
she the
movie.
alien? Was she the alien?
That's why I also want to rewatch the movie because I felt like her character's importance
Was her
is
face different
completely
before Natalie
blind to me.
Portman saw her?
Bro, when she transformed into Annihilation in the end, was
No,
she
like before, it's like she's looking up, and it looks like her face is not even right there. It's like all gray, and you don't see her eyes. I'm like, is she the actual alien?
See,
And is she just leading all these groups into the thing?
I kind of took it more as like
man,
in
this
the
movie's
like
gonna be nightmares now more I think about it.
no,
Shit.
yeah, and there's like this is why I love this because I feel like you could talk about like so many ideas of like maybe what it is without 100% knowing. You know what I mean? Like I felt like when she becomes the like the being of light, it's almost like one of the humans in the group evolved more than the rest of them.
Yeah.
And the doctor was able to evolve in a way that like the idea of being everything and being in everything and being a part of everything, like she said, was her death of herself. It's self-death. I feel like a lot of this movie plays on like psychedelia theory and like dismissal of ego that happens from like psychedelia theory and like I I just kind of like I don't know. To me, whenever that happens, it's almost like it's so much that like the idea of existing in a body is too much because she's literally everything, like all at once. So she just becomes the being.
Yeah. I mean, I was like Instagramming you this. Did this kind of give you Call of Duty 3 campaign vibes a little bit, especially during the end of the campaign when they're in that like snowy area and there's like that tree symbolism that's going on like during the whole campaign.
And you're like, wait. They literally, I feel like they looked at that script and was like, we could do this a lot better.
But like I was like thinking about this. I'm like, Oh, if Call of Duty, I mean Black Ops 3, it was like if this was like a movie of Annihilation.
It's like you do a Q&A for like you ask Alex Garland what his inspiration was, and then when he answers, you're just like, um,
Black Ops
actually, this
3.
was done in Black Ops 3 at least. 3 years before it came out. Like, it's
Like
like, did you copy Black Ops 3?
at least like the end of the campaign is like, oh, it's kind of similar. Like
It has like it definitely like I see like when you text it, like I didn't even think about Black Ops when I was watching it, but when you texted me that, I was like wait, he's on to something. Like he's on to something.
my nerve
Yeah.
shit is going all over the place right now.
You're like wait.
Wait, this means this, and this happened in Black Ops 3, so is this connected?
It's like, is this part of this? Also, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick.
Okay, so let me think because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about this movie, but it's like what we're saying, it's so confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing.
I think you need a second watch because I think they're like after watching like the first time, like the ending, I really want to figure out what the sentence is about because
Yeah.
I'm still thinking she's the alien. There's no chance that because technically nobody survives. The only survivor that has came out of this thing is Oscar Isaac's character.
Yeah, and Natalie Portman.
Well, of course, Natalie Portman see this woman transform, and it seems so weird because this woman wanted to go to the lighthouse so bad.
Yeah, definitely the lighthouse symbolism was intriguing.
And
But
she knew where exactly to go though when she got in that lighthouse.
yeah.
That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah, but you know what was crazy about Natalie Portman's character when she was lying to the other people? Was like, oh, she wanted to go further. The other guys wanted to go back, like back home, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what if Natalie Portman's character was the Annihilation the whole time?
Oh shit. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, like why did Natalie Portman character want to go all the way there so bad as well? Like you could say the same thing about both characters.
But you gotta think her thing is because of Oscar Isaac's character though.
Yeah.
You gotta think of that. While the other while the doctor didn't have no purpose. She didn't have nobody because I knew they threw up that one thing about her having cancer. But it's like they never mention that anymore, and I just seen Sammy about fall of his chair.
What chair? I'm on a bed.
You about fell out of your bed. I saw that coming.
So did you wipe?
So what were we talking about? What was the topic we were on again?
What's going on?
Let's just go back to the. There's no need for questions. Let's just go back to the.
No, what we were to talk about is I was shit. You guys send me off track by you almost falling off the bed. The woman, why was she so there? Like Bilal was saying, Natalie Portman could be the Annihilation the whole entire time. But I'm like, her objective for getting there was to kill the thing that her husband. This woman didn't. She wanted to go there the whole entire time.
Who, Vanessa?
Like she was. Yes.
Okay.
And it's so weird how she knew where to go when she got in the lighthouse.
No, and I definitely think that backs up your theory that like she possibly was like she kind of Men in Blacked it. You know what I mean? But also like I don't really like it's weird because they don't like they show that it's a crash landing in the beginning, but it's not like, oh, it is from space. I'm dumb. It literally does open with yeah. So I don't know. That's weird. Like it's so weird. But if she is the alien, that kind of backs up the dry performance. Because it's like emotionally tone deaf. You're like you're not human, so you can't relate at all.
Yeah.
But you still have to act like you are.
Like I mentioned to Ball, they only brought the cancer thing up one time. They didn't even elaborate on that more. They just brought that up one time with was it Benedict Wong's character?
Oh yeah,
And they and they also I feel like that was the main reason that like connection was there was because of Natalie Portman's career.
yeah.
So
Also, like, is it me
Oh,
or
true. I
did
think
Natalie
so.
Portman's like performance kind of change after she came out of chamber? Like, it was like after the chamber, she was like emotionless too.
But it's
and
kind
I
of
think
like
that's
what you guys were saying though
yeah.
before, because of course, like once they go, like through the whole entire movie, we got like they are normal and stuff, right? But they're deteriorating through the film as not only further they get, the longer they stay in there. And of course, by the time it's kind of like if you like somebody when somebody goes really insane, kind of like for the example, like when guys go off to the military, it doesn't matter where at in the world. When people go off to the military and they come back, they're never the same. And I think it's kind of like that's kind of like what they were doing when they went to the Shimmer. Like once they come back out, not only the brains are deteriorating from mutation, I think they just went through so much shit of seeing of her seeing everyone get killed, and not only that, seeing and having to battle this alien that it fucked up her mind. And
Yeah,
especially, I think what really fucked up her mind is the footage on that camera
yeah,
of her husband, because she thinks that her husband's just like lost it, where her husband could actually be dead and is out back in the thing in the compound. There's actually this alien out there, and it's not her husband. But what got me with that is when the Annihilation alien burned and it disintegrated everything, but he was still there though. That's the thing I don't get. It's kind of like it's kind of going back to say like, did the person in the video was that the alien and he's actually really her husband?
oh yeah,
That's and that's kind of like that's where I feel like the idea that like all of them are like everything, like they're not one thing, kind of like I don't know, like it in a weird way, it makes those questions like not that important because
uh,
it's like it doesn't matter who my husband is. I'm not I'm everything. I
exactly.
am I'm my husband too now. And I also think like that weird like they both existed in a space and became each other's DNA is also like in a weird way maybe why they hug at the end because they sense that like they recognize something in each other. That's way
Yeah,
out there. That's a
yeah.
stretch.
I
That's a
mean,
stretch, but that's just
you know what got me in the end was Oscar Isaac's evil eyes after hugging Natalie Portman.
But
Well,
then you
but then
see
hers
her
did the
eyes turn
same.
to
oh yeah, right, yeah. Also,
but that because
did Tessa Thompson's character turn to like a tree or something in the end?
that's what I
Or
was going to talk about next. That I don't know if you guys noticed that when she was walking off, because of course, where she has the scars all over her arms where she cut herself before, which the woman saying, "Oh yeah, she's trying to be more alive." I'm like, that's totally opposite of what
yeah, they
you do
said
when
she
you do that
first
stuff.
leaves because she has scars, right? So like
Yeah,
when
because normally, like she said, "Oh yeah," because normally you do that if you want to commit suicide, but it's like this when she's like, "Oh, she wants to be more alive." I'm like,
I think what they meant by that was like it was like a I don't even want to say like the way I was going to say that. It's a way of saying that like you're trying to feel something.
"Oh, kind of like it
Cuz like
have
people
purpose."
like yeah, cuz there's people that like cut themselves and they say it's because they are numb and they want to feel something. So I kind of took that line as another way of saying that just in like that character's way of saying it
yeah,
where it's like she was doing it to feel something, but instead of saying that they're like feel alive. It was weird phrasing. It was weird phrasing, but I kind of was like Okay, I think that's what they mean by that, or at least
Yeah.
the idea behind that. Because I've from talking to people and like into that subject matter, like that is a reason that people do that, and they specify that she does like side slashes versus, you know what I mean. So
because you
that kind of
see on her arms
separates that like
because you
suicidal debate.
because through the whole movie she's wearing sleeves. Then that one moment she's like just wearing her tank top, and you see every single scar. And I noticed, like, I was wondering if you guys noticed it because when she was walking away, because it's so weird how she's the one who found out about the DNA turning into actual like human plants. Then it's so weird. It's kind of like foreshadowing. She finds it out,
They
and then
switch.
later on, she turns into one of those things because, of course, when you see her walk away, you see the limbs going out of her, and the only thing I talk about that is men. You know, the Green Man when he's growing. That's why I thought too. I'm like, there's a lot of connections in these movies, and there's subtle connections.
No, yeah, and it's
Because
like I definitely think like he has a tendency to like intro an idea and then like expand upon that little bit of the idea more in another movie, or kind of bring back that trope and find a new way to flesh it out more.
so what I was wondering, if she turned to one of those people, did everyone that go into the shimmer turn into those people?
I think so.
But I want to know which one. I really wanted to see. I wish she'd done this because you see Natalie Portman's character go off to find her. Then you get to the clip of her on the beach island. And she's like crying. I'm like, I kind of wish she'd done the scene of her finding Tessa Thompson's character, and we see that emotion right there of like her being by herself now and going to have to go to this lighthouse. Like, not only she has lost her husband, she has lost everybody on this trip also. And I think that's the part of her mental sanity breaking down also because
Yeah.
now she's alone. She's
Yeah.
like she has watched everybody die through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're alone without like, and you're losing your concept of being yourself.
Exactly.
So it's a double. It's like you have no traction. There's no grounding. I
Yeah.
also think that contributes a lot to why she shows her sleeves in the tree scene. Kind of back to Tessa Thompson's character. It's
Yeah.
almost like, what's the like? I am everything. I exist, so I'm gonna be a tree. If the humans or bodies are coded, if the plants' bodies are coded to grow and evolve in a human form, I have the ability to evolve into the tree form.
Yeah.
And it's
But
kind of just letting go. You know what I mean?
I mean, speaking of when Natalie Portman finds Shepard, Shepard was turned into like a plant, sort of. You saw like a little bit of green and stuff.
Which
Like,
is just, I think that's just so cool that they like kept that pattern of like nature, like them becoming nature. You know
it's
what I
the
mean?
tree from Black Ops 3, man. To turn to that 3, bro. It's crazy.
Then it seems like a
What?
then it seems like also later on, because especially when Benedict Wong's character acts Natalie Portman's character of what are they here for? And she's like to like rebuild. And it kind of shows that. Like they're rebuilding their own environment out of the earth that we already have right now.
But low key, there I'm gonna make this argument too. That's why I like this movie a lot. They kind of sell you, as much as the movie is on the idea that like the self is like extremely important to just existing. Um, the idea of freedom behind this new world is honestly more appealing, because that's kind of like, I like that they don't show the self-destruction until the very end, because I feel like a lot of the movie you're kind of sitting there like, this is honestly good.
Yeah.
Like
I
that's
mean,
kind of, I took it like, I was like, this is cool. Like there's no confusion anymore. It's eternal connection because you're everything.
Yeah. It's almost like a weird way that, oh, you should be appreciating your life since you're like alive. Do what you gotta do. Like, I know shit things happen in life, but like that's part of it. That's part of the journey. So
And empathy is important. It's beyond important because we
yeah,
don't understand or have concepts of anything without empathy. Um, I don't know. I just think the movie asks a lot mentally out of its audience in a way that like other movies don't, but it's bringing up concepts and questions that aren't extremely talked about or really fleshed out or like very like the feeling that like I said, the feeling that you like what you're seeing is honestly not that negative, and then by the end they show you why they still see it as negative. It's just really like wow, like it makes you realize like you don't fully understand everything about your reality,
exactly.
and it just makes it, I don't know, I really love art that makes you rethink why you're human, and I feel like this movie does a really good job of that, and like the idea of being a human and the core concepts that make you exist as you that we don't ever think about or take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. But okay. So mostly, so did you go through every pros that you guys could think of?
Yeah.
Do you have any negatives? Because I got a couple nitpicks here and there.
Um. Yes, I do. Like you said, the doctor's performance very shallow. Very one noted performance, and like I said in the beginning, I feel like having no like a newcomer or no name play Oscar Isaac's character would be more effective and have that emotional weight even further of the ending of the film. I feel like. But other than that, I don't think I have too many big negatives. I feel like no, the pacing. I must say the pacing was very slow at the beginning, and it was kind of hard for me to get through the first hour of this movie until they went into the chamber. Then everything just picked up really quickly, but the pacing was definitely off in the beginning, at least for me, at least. That's it.
No, it's very, yeah, like it's like I've, and kind of back to like what you're saying earlier, Dakota, like every, every auteur, every like director and every like has their trope. I feel like Alex Garland has this massive trope of like making everything too calm. Like it's too relaxed. Like it's too like there's something wrong. Like you get a sense that there's something off or there's something wrong because everything, there's no conflict, there's no sense of conflict, or if there is conflict, it's not present then. Like Men is very, it opens very calm. Like I mean, not okay, let me correct, not the very beginning, but like when she gets to her Airbnb where she's staying at the castle, like it's
Yeah.
it's too calm. You're like something's off. Same with Ek Machina. He shows up and you're like, this is too quiet. It's too calm. Like there's something wrong. Like something's off. And I feel like this movie kind of does that too. Like it's like you already kind of have an idea that something's wrong, but it's more out of confusion. You know what
I
I
think
mean?
he. Yeah, I think you. I can ask Ball. He fixes that though with Civil War.
Oh, Civil War, it's not calm. You're like going through.
You get right into it,
Okay, which
Oh, your
I
heart's
kind of
gonna
like
be
that.
beeping like crazy during Civil War. And
which I
make sure you cover
think.
your ears. That's the main thing. I didn't. My popcorn went everywhere because I jumped. Hell no, bro.
It
IMAX
happens, man.
going.
It gets you. It gets you.
But besides that, I think. Then, do you have any more negatives, Sammy?
Not really. I mean, kind of like Bilal said with the pacing. Like outside of that, like I don't. I think everything, like technically as well as performance and like story, hit really well here. I don't really have a lot of negatives at all.
So for me, I think the pacing, like you said to begin, I'm like, when I saw you give it 4.5, like you said, I'm like, why did this man give it 4.5 stars? I'm like, this beginning is dragging. I'm like, this feels like a 2.5 star movie just because of the beginning. And then once we get into them walking into the shimmer and then the bear attack, no, the crocodile. Then I'm like, okay, it's starting to kick in. Then you feel it more and more. I'm like, okay, this is why he raises the rating. But like you said, the characters, Oscar Isaac, like you said, they could have done somebody else. Thompson's character needed not only more story, but I think more, yeah, just more screen time also.
Yeah, I mean,
I think especially her coming off of Thor: Love and Thunder, but Thor Ragnarok the year before. I don't know why I just said Love and
I
Thunder.
was about to say that's
That's 4 years ahead of its time. After
speaking of the MCU, we have Wong, we have Valkyrie, we have Moon Knight, we have Lady Thor. Like, whoa, what else do you need in this movie?
True.
and they're all better in this movie.
I know.
And okay, to be honest with you, Benedict Wong, I wish we got some more screen time with him.
I mean, actually, it didn't really need more stream time. This part was like the interview, Natalie Portman. It was done
No,
well.
when I saw him though in the cast list, I'm like, oh yeah, this dude gonna be in the movie. I'm like Oscar Isaac. Now I watched. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Which I like how they kind of go about that whole like his relationship with that and that scene because they very much start and build the rest of the movie like okay this scene is gonna like be a big deal and they're gonna pick up from here and shit's gonna happen like typical movie trope, you know what I'm saying? Like oh, okay, now we're caught up, and when they catch up it's like it's not really even catching up, it's just kind of like revealing more of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of it's subtle, and then when it ends, it's just like okay, we're done talking. That's it. Go see your husband,
Okay,
and then the movie ends. Like I like that. I kind of like that. Like okay, there's no bullshit. Like we already saw everything we needed to see.
there is two things I want to bring up about this real quick. One, Tessa's Compass character, and this kind of remind me of Sydney Sweeney in Madam Web.
What?
I'm gonna
I
okay.
wouldn't go to
I'm gonna tell
that.
you.
I don't know.
I know. I'm gonna tell you guys why. I'm gonna tell you guys why. Tessa Thompson at the time was known for Thor Ragnarok and Creed, right?
Yeah.
I think Creed 2 came out already. Yeah, I think Creed 2 already came out. She's a big known actor, right?
No,
You
Creed 2 came
underutilized
out
with
in
her.
November later.
Oh, did he come out over here?
Yeah.
But of course, she was in Creed and Thor. Big name actress. And you underutilizing her. What I'm pulling the Sydney Sweeney out from is you had Sydney Sweeney, a big name actress at the time, right? At this time. And you underutilized her in Madden Web. I think what these studios are doing is they're taking their I don't know the actors they could do great things with the actors. They make them good, but it seems like actresses they take the best ones and they put the less screen time on them and underutilize them, while they take the ones that people don't like or not that great, and they give them the big roles.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's more of just like a marketing thing. It's just kind of like okay, we know this face is gonna sell. We'll figure out a way to get them to sign on. We'll change it. They'll because that's kind of what they did with Madam Web. If you want to like go with that route, like they very much had fake scripts.
I mean,
They signed on, and then it was like, okay, well, guess what? You're just getting like this is what you're gonna do, and it's like, okay,
yeah. But
like
like the thing about this comparison is Sony didn't even give a good script to Sydney Sweeney or any of the cast members. At least Alex Garland gave them a really great script to work with, and the small parts that she was in, she did a great job of her character. So
no,
that's
I
what,
definitely agree with your perspective. Like I feel like sometimes like the small performance is okay. It just depends on I think it depends on how you go about it and just like understanding like have establishing that tone that like hey this person is like they're in the story but they're not the most crucial part of the story.
yeah, and she could be busy with Avengers Infinity War too. For
Yeah,
them.
people's
Yeah,
always
like
people got
true.
shit.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
sure.
did forget about Infinity War and Game where they were filming back to back at this time.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to tell you guys, this reminded me a lot of Arrival, especially from the beginning.
Yeah.
It definitely has that Arrival vibe where it's like it's like not conventional sci-fi, but it's not like I don't it's like it's not grounded either. Like it's kind of grounded, but then it's really not. Like it gets ungrounded. Like it starts grounded. It's very like real. It's very real approaches to situations, and then it goes existential like by the end
Yeah,
of it, and it's just in its own like it's in its own world of ideas.
Yeah. I mean, let's just be real. Alex Garland and Denis Villeneuve are like the better sci-fi directors right now, and I hope Alex Garland does some more movies because I want him to dive into more sci-fi, dude. Like, I feel like him doing more sci-fi stuff would be so good for him.
Uh, I feel like we're in this. I feel like sci-fi like works when you really put the effort into it. Like like there's so many good like sci-fi movies that like don't seem like they're gonna be great, and then they end up being amazing because people just actually care. Like the like movies I can think of, for example, was like Elysium or like Edge of Tomorrow, where like you watch the trailer and you're like, okay, this looks like a lot of Hollywood blockbusters. Like this looks good, but it's like a lot of and then you watch the movie and you're like, oh,
Actually,
that's really
tomorrow is fire.
yeah. You're like, this is
That
crazy. This is doing something and it exists on its own, and
Groundhog
I love
Day
it.
mixed with sci-fi and aliens. Sign me up.
But like you watch the trailer and you don't get the idea of how good the movie is.
And
You're
but
kind of like it's just Hollywood, and then you watch the
yeah,
movie and you're like, "Oh, this is like really good. Like
yeah, and
this
that's
is like
another
really good."
reason why this movie flopped in the box office because it was struggling to find a name. It was like Live Die Repeat at first, and Edge of Tomorrow. They're like couldn't find the right name for it.
And
Yeah.
it's just Edge of Tomorrow is like, I mean, it's a good name, but it's very like
Let Die Repeat sounds better, to be honest.
it does, but like it's also good marketing taglines. So
We need a sequel towards that. Come on now.
it's only been fucking 10 years.
I know, right?
and Tom Cruise did sign that multi-picture deal with Warner Brothers.
Yo, Dakota, have you seen Edge of Tomorrow?
Nope.
We gotta do a podcast episode right now on Edge of Tomorrow. Yeet.
Edge of
I know.
Tomorrow is so good.
In the podcast episode, be like, let's start the.
It's like let's do one more while we're at it.
Not right now. Let's do a
No, no,
bonus.
no. I know I gotta sleep.
Yeah, I got
Me
sleep too.
too. But is that it for Annihilation for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's get into our back half of our review. Of course, let's do our Rotten Tomato predictions. Of course, I love it when you two are here because there's two different guesses out of both of you. So, Bilal, what's your prediction first? Then we can go with Sammy.
I think critically 83. I feel like critics will love this movie. Audience, I'm going with a low 53. I don't know why. It doesn't seem like a movie that audience would enjoy. Especially how confusing the plot is. So yeah.
I'm gonna say
Annihilation.
like a 73 for critic. And I'm gonna say like a 59 for audience. Because I feel like audience is like in the middle.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I just got a feeling it's like high middle. Like high
Oh,
middle range.
all right. What's the score of my guy?
So, critic is 88%.
Oh wow.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Audience score is 67.
Oh, that's actually higher than I expected it to be.
That's pretty average across the board, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it's gonna be like low 50s or something because it doesn't seem like a movie the audience will eat up, especially with these blockbusters that came in 2018.
Yeah, no, and it was just a stacked year, and it just came out like I said. I think February was the worst. Like it was the worst time to release it. It was the worst marketing attempt for it, and it just came out when a lot of shit was coming out, and it
Yeah.
just didn't need.
Infinity War.
Yeah, it just
And
needed to be a fall
Black Panther
release.
came
It
out
needed
that
to be
time too.
fall. What did?
So it was competing with Black Panther.
Yeah, you didn't stand a chance. Like you just yeah. And if it was the year before, it was Get Out. So you're still
They should release in 2020. Probably the best movie of that year
yeah.
easily.
It was gonna release on March 8th, 2020. Like right before the fucking pandemic
Bro,
hit.
you know what? I saw the Invisible Man in theaters before it shut down.
Oh no, I'm just saying like if that hypothetically happened, like watch it like have been around when COVID happened
I
and
saw
it
10.
still just didn't work.
I saw 10 in the theater too.
Me too. That was like the first time in like months I went to a theater to see it.
Bro, like that sound mixing, yo, that was not it, bro. I can't hear the
It
characters. So I'm like, oh shit.
it was weird, and then they had the Travis Scott song at the end.
Oh, that first God sounds fire though.
It was kind of fire. It was kind of fire, but especially like the car chase scene,
Yeah.
the audio is like fucking what the fuck.
Bro, like
I'm
what
at it with you now.
happened, Nolan? Like, did you not edit this movie properly before putting it out or
I
something?
feel like as much as that is on him, that's also sound department. Like
Oh, that's a good point. But
it's
like,
like mixing. Like the mix was weird. It wasn't even like I think they got the audio like on set. It was just the mix was just strange. It
I
was
heard it. I heard they fixed it though, so I'm not sure if it's different now.
it's kind of like Across the
Yeah,
Spider Verse had the same thing happen, and then they like pulled it out of theater. Like
Oh
they
yeah,
pulled a certain
especially
cut
with
out
the
of theaters,
when like narration at the beginning and the music was way too loud and you could barely hear Haley Steinfeld speaking. I'm like,
and you're like,
I'm right here, Haley, not the music. Thank you very much.
like y'all motherfuckers
yeah.
have to start whipping out the subtitles.
I think they did fix that sound mixing when they re-released it in 4K for IMAX this past, I think, 2 months ago.
Cool.
Cool.
Was it
But
nominated for anything? Annihilation.
I'm gonna ask you guys about the box office.
Oh, I didn't mean to jump ship. My bad.
You're good.
Uh,
I'm just gonna tell you guys, this budget was $40 to $55 million.
I feel like at 30 mil, I feel like it really flopped because the limited release in Canada could be a factor of that.
I think it cleared like I'm gonna go ahead and say like it barely got it over. Like it like made a profit, but not really. Like it wasn't enough to make an impression. Like I would how much was the budget again?
40 to 55 mil.
I'm gonna say it made like 55 to 62 mil. Like I feel like it barely broke even. Like I feel like that's at least what my gut's saying.
You guys ready?
Oh, I've been ready.
$43.1 million.
Eesh. I was closer to my 30 mil, man.
Yeah. That's ugh.
To be
Yeah,
honest with you, you want to know how bad this movie was marketed? I knew a lot of movies that came out in 2018. I knew Black Panther was coming out. This movie, I didn't even know about until like 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah.
And I remember when it came out even like it was like I said, I think the biggest flop, the reason it flopped is marketing it as a Hollywood film. I really think it crippled it. And I get why they tried to do it like that, but its story and its presentation is very anti-Hollywood. So I don't really get why they even with Hollywood names, it's just anti-Hollywood. I don't really know why they really tried to market it like that. Cuz I feel like they went with that approach with Men where it wasn't Hollywood and they didn't market it as Hollywood. And I'm like, see, y'all should have just done that shit with Annihilation. I don't know why the fuck y'all went and did all this nonsense that was not even close to the movie.
Yeah.
True.
All right.
But
So what's the next segment, man?
What Sammy was getting right to. Let's go look at the Oscar noms.
Probably for I'm imagine some visual effects gotta be up there, right? Like surely.
That's what I'm thinking, or like maybe sound design.
Yeah, I don't think
Here we
probably
go.
two. That's probably it.
Wait, did you get nothing?
We got nothing. Actually, 2018 was stacked mud. I mean, stacked gears. So that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it received 0 Oscar nominations.
Yeah, that makes sense. 2018 was pretty stacked either way. Plus, the movie flopping is another factor of the Oscars because they want
Yeah, they're
nominated.
not gonna put a flopping movie in the Oscar noms.
Exactly.
But let's get right into this. What's your guys' rankings of this movie?
Like I said, I'm gonna give it a 9. I feel like
So you gonna give it 4.5?
it's just like I don't get that perfect feel out of it,
It's really freaking close, though.
but it's really close. And I think its ideas are perfect.
Yeah.
Like I think what it talks about is 10 out of 10, and it's just not. It's not conventional topics like brought up in film. So I don't know. I really fucked with the movie. I thought it was overall one of my favorites that I've watched in a long time.
Yeah. I'm also looking at 4.5. I feel like Dakota's ratings could be much lower than those. I have a feeling.
Yeah, mine's 4.5 also.
Really?
I
Oh
think it.
wow. Okay.
Oh, really? I thought you're like, oh, I'm too confused. 3-star cover up. I did not expect.
No,
I
it's.
felt a 3
I think
creeping on.
after we talked about it a little bit more, and it's just that beginning. If that beginning was not slow, if the beginning was like how Civil War was, I could give this thing a 5. But this beginning drags, and you can feel it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say Annihilation is my second favorite. Alice Garland, though.
Blah blah blah. Hold up, hold up. That
Hey,
was our
what?
next thing. That was our next thing. Of course, guys, we're done with the Alex Garman Garman. I mean Garland.
Garland.
Um, hey,
Who
I
thought
said this the word.
Garland?
Where we're done with all his movies on the Cinematic Boys reviews, and we reviewed his fourth movie, Civil War, and Cinematic Boys podcast. I thought, why not rank them right here? So, Sammy, you've seen 3 of them. What's your ranking?
So, outside of Civil War, because like you said, I hadn't seen it. Bottom's Men. Um, I think even honestly, I haven't even seen Civil War. I'll probably say Men's probably below that. Um, I think as a film, it goes Ex Machina 1, Annihilation 2. But like the ideas, like what they're talking about, Annihilation clears. Like,
It's the execution.
yeah, I think it's the execution, and like, but Ex Machina was one of those movies that, as much as it is interesting and like what it talks about is interesting for when it came out, it matters more now. And to me, that made me like the fact that it made me rethink something that I felt like we've all had our own opinions and thoughts and ideas about, and it made me rethink it completely. That made me just like love it even more. So yeah, I gotta put Ex Machina first.
Okay, Bilal, what's your ranking?
First of all, have you guys seen the show that Alex Garland did called Devs?
Nope.
Devs? It's
Yeah,
called Devs?
yeah.
No, I haven't.
I need to see that too, but like that's something I want brought up. I haven't seen it yet, but
I
I
gotta put
heard
that on my radar, man.
yeah, I had to put that in you guys' radar. But when our forest man, not my wife. I feel like the messaging was pretty off for that movie, to me at least. Number 3 is Civil War. A fantastic movie. I love how intense this movie was from the beginning, telling storytelling by the perspectives of these journalists. Was really awesome to see. I wish they explore on why the war was happening a bit more, but other than that's fine. Um, Number 2 is Annihilation, because how like great this movie was. Like you said, visually stunning, great performances, such a great eerie tone. The atmosphere was fantastic in that film. My current one is Annihilation. I mean, not Annihilation.
Number two, Annihilation. Number one, Annihilation.
Number one, Ex Machina. Like the discussions on AI was so great in this movie, and can we get an Oscar Isaac in the musical ASAP? The Ghost Dance moves were great. I don't care what
Yeah,
Dakota
it's
says, man. Ghost Dance moves A plus.
it's disco time.
This
It's always
You
disco
guys in
time.
that dancing scene, I can't stand that dancing scene.
well, why?
It's the best. It's when the movie, like it's him being the most asshole he can be, while also just making a fun scene.
Yeah.
But of course, my ranking is men's at 4. Like I like what A24 did, but it's like it's confusing. Like how me and Sammy put it, it goes so many different ways, and like how we figured out the ending for it. Like I didn't even think of that. I don't know what the general audience would think about that. 3 is Annihilation. For me, it's just the beginning. That's what hurts this movie for me. But besides that, and some of the acting is, but I like I like the main concept of the movie, like you said, Sammy. It's just the execution in this. But number 2, we got Ex Machina. I like Ex
Oh,
Machina,
so Warner one. That's interesting.
but it's really good and it's perfect all the way through. But Civil War at number 1, it's the beginning. It's like what we were saying, what me and Bilal said. It hooks you right at the beginning. It throws you right into it. I like a movie like that. If you hook me right at the beginning and you don't slow down through the whole movie and you got my attention the whole entire movie,
It's
you're
like a John
really
Wick
good.
movie.
Yes, it's perfect. Like John Wick 4, or like a lot of
Oh,
people say Abigail is a little bit slower at the beginning, but I like Abigail. Kind of a little build up, but it caught me right into it. And like Dune, it hooks you right in the beginning. Like when Dune Part 2 starts, it hooks you right in.
I mean, what I like about Abigail is like the first 30 minutes or so is like getting to know about these characters before the events that about happen.
But like Civil War, like it takes you right into the war and what this movie is about. And I love that. And that's why it's number 1 for me. But I think that's mostly it for our review and ranking it.
Well, I was
No.
gonna say with Civil War, it kind of like I think it historically captures a lot of America's second Civil War in a way that like other films just haven't really like touched the topic of. I mean, it's very authentic to the second American Civil War, and like
Especially what
a
we're
lot
going
of how
through
it's
right
done.
now.
No. I mean the one that happened.
Do we have a second one? I thought we only had a first one. You're playing a trick on me. Yeah, I thought that. I'm like, is this dude crazy or something? I'm like, there's no very second
It's
Civil
like
War.
no, it's a historically accurate document of the second American Civil War. And Alex Garland did a great job, like finally finding a way to utilize
Boy,
that.
he hasn't seen the movie yet. What do you expect to call this making shit up, bro?
we
Yeah,
went
I'm
we
like,
went from Gone with the Wind to Civil War.
no. To be honest with you, it pulls Civil War pulls a mag actually what America could be if we don't get our shit together.
Y'all better not run to Canada after this little war starts. Like I'm chilling here. I don't want y'all problems here.
I'll be knocking on your fucking door.
I'm gonna fly to New Zealand. Peace.
Low key, actually, I'll just go to New Zealand instead because
Yeah,
I'd
New
rather
Zealand.
live in the mountains, man. Yeah.
Shout
Uh,
out to Byron.
actually, can I just live in the moon somehow? Is it like
In the
scientifically
what?
in
If
the
you go
moon?
live at the moon, I'm just gonna stay in New Zealand still because I like I feel like I could live in my Hobbit home.
I
You
mean,
know.
like the moon would be sick. Like you just live with the aliens, bro.
That's true, but if Jeff Bezos lands on it in 15 years, I'm gonna have to put him down.
Let's just go to Mars. You know, that's another area you could probably live in. We've seen the Martian. It's possible.
Yeah, and Elon Musk clearly thinks Matt Damon showed him the way because I mean he puts billions of dollars into SpaceX. So
Or like if I could go to Saturn and do like a race in the rings with my car, that'd be so dope, dude. But like that's not possible.
not yet.
Not yet.
It's all about possibility and never saying can't. The law.
I don't know where this conversation is.
I love it though. This is our second episode back together, and we just like go off the rails because I
have
remember
to.
that new episode. We went off the rails so many times, and this is our first time. I'm like, we actually control it a little bit, but I think that's it for this episode.
So it's
So
Annihilation, Call of Duty 3 campaign in movie format.
Thank you, and we're ready. We will we will review all of the Call of Duty campaigns for the
Oh my
next series
goodness.
that we're
Oh, that'd be
doing.
so hard.
No, we are not
Post
doing that. We are
outcome.
not. We are not doing that.
So we would like to announce that we're doing 2-week intervals for the show
Oh,
now
no.
to take time to play each campaign for.
Oh, we are not doing that. But I will tell you guys our next series is the Call of Duty campaigns. But of course, we got our episode for the Smack Boys podcast, which I think will be on episode 16. Of course, we're doing our regular stuff during that. Of course, you guys know the rundown of the Smack Boys podcast episodes. But getting into our next series that we're going to be reviewing, we're going to start reviewing the Planet of the Apes trilogy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Starting with Rise of the Planet of the Apes next week. So, guys, you better get ready and locked in.
Starring Dave Franco's brother.
Oh shit! That didn't
The new Goblin.
Devil's name somehow.
I'll just say his
Who
name,
is
James
that
Franco.
again?
James Franco.
Yeah, Dave Franco's brother.
Harry Osborn,
James Franco.
like actually Harry Osborn in real life, man. Like let's do.
Pineapple Express 2 coming in 2025.
David Doran Green actually needs to get back on those movies after what he done to The Exorcist Believer.
And Halloween.
No, you can show your mouth about Halloween. It's just The Exorcist.
He ruined John Carpenter's illusion, bro. Man.
But of course, we're off topic again. But of course, for our next series, we're going to be doing the Apes trilogy, which the first one's not by Matt Reeves. I don't know why everyone thinks it's Matt Reeves. The first one's not directed by Matt Reeves. The next two are, which I love the last two movies. I would love revisiting these movies because I've only seen them.
All right.
Oh. Now you're going to get me on the Batman kick. You don't need to get me started on the Batman kick.
Yeah, everybody knows that Rupert Wyatt directed Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Everyone knows Rupert Wyatt.
No, they don't. I literally saw someone on TikTok today. Oh, yeah. The Planet of the Apes trilogy directed by Matt Reeves. I literally lost it looking at my phone.
But it's the same dude who directed The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg. Everyone knows who Rupert...
I thought that movie
what's his
shit.
name again? Rupert Wyatt is. Everyone knows who that is.
Okay, we're just going off the rails right now.
But of course, we'll be reviewing those movies. It'll be rewatch. Okay, I'm gonna just say it'll be rewatches for all of those movies. I love those movies. I have watched on I think most out of all those movies. But of course, get locked in, get ready for those reviews. They'll be coming out for the next 3 weeks. Then after that, we get on to Bilal's favorite franchise, Mad Max.
Hell yeah.
But guys, be ready for locked in for these next 8 weeks. Wait, not 8 weeks. Next 7 weeks. We're going to be doing a lot of reviews here.
Ape. Caesar's home.
But guys, I want just to say some quick things before we end the pod. I want to congratulate Sammy again for becoming our newest co-host of the Cinematic Boys podcast.
Oh, don't be twerking now.
No, he's getting ready. We're going to inaugurate him into the Cinematic Boys podcast.
Yeah, no, my bad.
Congratulations, Sammy. You earned it. To be honest with you, you've been here every week. We know you were out last week. It's personal issues, but you've been here every week. You were there for when we went to the Dune Part 2. I love how he's just doing this stuff. You have to watch the video version. This is awesome. Um, I love
I
that
think it's
me
glitching, man. I think it's frozen.
that me, you, and Brandon went to the Dune Part 2 IMAX showing that they had, and I can't wait for what we
Oh
got
my
coming in
god,
the future.
Eddie Lewis, bro. Acting chops. Holy shit, bro.
I can't wait to see what comes in the future with you on here, especially once you're out of school. You'll be back home with me. We'll be doing a lot of reviews, going to see some showing so we can get some early reviews out there for you guys. Of course, we're trying to go get Bilal somewhere. We're going to try to beat Bilal somewhere, but Bilal's stuck up in Canada. But
Y'all stuck in America. They say the same thing about
yeah,
y'all.
you need to come down here.
Now you gotta come up here, man.
But guys, with that being said, Sammy, you're good, bro.
I was gonna say I appreciate one at ease. I was waiting for an at ease. You know what I'm saying? And
At
two,
ease, soldier.
I'm honored.
There you go.
Thank you.
Give me 5 push-ups right now.
No. We're not doing push-ups.
You
So,
can go to hell, Sergeant.
Hey yo.
but as you guys listen to
I'm
this,
joking.
I want to say thank you to you guys. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here right now doing this.
I wouldn't be here
Forgive
without
us.
y'all, man.
Well, mainly Dakota because he knows you, but I'm just like here.
No. So I'm going to say this right now. So without you guys listening to this podcast, me and Bilal would not have the following we do on TikTok and YouTube, and my dog's barking. I'm so sorry, guys, right now. But without this following, we would not be able to start this and the friends we made along the way through movie talk and stuff. But also, me knowing Sammy, bring him out here, him and Bilal, you guys listen to his movie takes and opinions. Also, we appreciate that, but we also appreciate something else. 217 followers on TikTok right now. 14 subscribers on YouTube. 9 followers on Spotify. I think we're at 29 followers on Instagram. Big shout out to all of y'all. And I have uploaded right now of my current state. It should be uploaded. Everything should be uploaded by the time this podcast episode comes out. But of course, I will be posting more clips because Ball's been giving me hell on about it. I'll be posting more clips on TikTok.
Post more clips, damn it. I've been waiting all day for them.
But hell no, TikTok is going to get banned anyway, so we gotta get that.
I only post on Threads.
I mean, TikTok's
Said
not
no
gonna be
one.
banned. It's not gonna be banned until next year, bro. We chilling, bro.
Yeah, we got a whole year to get you guys in there, and then we will move you guys over here to YouTube or Instagram to get you that following up.
And I mean, you might still be on TikTok, man, if they sell the company. So
true. But guys, with that being said, when you hear me below next time, it'll be for episode 16 of the Cinematic Boys podcast. And when you hear Sammy next time, it will be for next week's episode of the Cinematic Boys reviews, which will be episode 15 for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you guys next time.
All right, peace and be out.
Caesar.
Sammy, say your line. I love your line. Stay sexy.
Okay,
I'll see you next time, sexy.